Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I'm here today with a special guest, none other than four-time Grammy Award winners, the songbird herself, Miss Deniece Williams. How you doing today?
I am doing just wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing actually. I'm just blessed. I'll put it like that.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. Being blessed is great.
Yes, yes, yes. Especially with so much going on now.
Yeah.
How have you been doing in the midst of this pandemic and everything?
Well, I tell you, I've been doing fine. And I just got back from Dallas, Texas. I went and hung out with my brother. I've been in and out of Utah, hanging out with my younger son. I've been in and out of LA. So I'm not, it, it seemed like every weekend I'm going somewhere. And I'm just grateful to God that everybody that I'm around, my family is healthy. None of us have been affected by COVID, except my younger son and his wife. They did
Okay.
have COVID right at Thanksgiving, but they're fine now. Everybody's doing well. And, I just tell people that this has been an incredible time for things that I probably couldn't have got to because of touring and concerts and those kind of things.
Right.
But it's been a time for me to concentrate on some other things. I'm writing two books at the same time. Go figure. Finishing up my CD project. I had a new single come out, new music come out. I have some interest in a television show that I just flippantly, talked to somebody about. I have some interest now, as 2 days ago, in a movie on something that I wrote. So actually, it's been a different kind of time, but I have to say, it's been a blessed time when a lot of new things are opening up for me, and and I'm really excited.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Of course, we got to talk about this new music. So you got a single out already, "When You
Yeah,
Love Somebody." So
yeah.
talk to me about this single. How did this come about, and what made you start wanting to record now?
Well, actually, it was God. It was an accident. It was
Okay,
God putting something together. I was in Los Angeles with one of my sons, and we had several meetings that we were taking. And so we got our day finished. And then he said, Mom, I need to go by the studio and talk to this guy, Emile Ghantous, who, I went to school with. He's a writer and a producer now, doing very well, and I want to see if he will take an interest in an artist that a friend of mine who's trying to get in the business. He said, I promise you, this is the last meeting, and then we're going to go home because I
okay.
we live in Las Vegas. I said, okay. So we go by the studio, and Kevin and Emil have their meeting. And right as we're about to leave, and I'm just sitting in the corner. When I came in, I gave him a hug. Oh, it's so good to see you again. So as we were leaving, he said, Miss Williams, I love you. I've always loved your music. I love your voice. He said, I've always wanted to write something with you. He said, if I play you a couple of tracks, do you think, if you hear something, we could write something together? And I said, okay. I'm thinking to myself, I ain't going to hear nothing. And we just, you know, bye-bye. And so
Right.
he plays me the first track. And like I said, I didn't hear anything. So then he plays me the second track. And I'm sitting there and I saying, oh, I kind of like this one. When you love somebody and you dance and you dance and you dance. And I thought, okay, push the red button. So we put the idea down. About a week and a half later, he sent me the track, and I love what he did with the track. And then he said, "Can you send me some lyrics?" I sent him some lyrics, and we his lyrics, my lyrics, and then he had a demo made of the song.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, I really like this song, so we'll send it out. He said, Miss Williams, quite honestly, I don't think anybody could sing it like you. So next time you come into LA, will you come in the studio and put down a vocal for me? I said, okay. So I went in the studio, put the vocal down, and left the studio with it on my computer, on my phone, got my tracks and stuff.
Right,
And
right.
so about a month later, I played it for my cousins who sing with me, and they were there with their daughter and their grandkids. And we put the song on, and the little kids was bopping, and everybody's singing the hook and stuff. And I called Emile. I said, "Well, maybe we have something." He said, "Ms. Williams, I've been trying to tell you that for a couple of months now. It's a really great song." So I said, "Okay, what the heck, God?" I decided to put it out, and that's how that happened. I really had not intended to do this. You know, I've been in the business 45 years. I've been on the radio for 45 years, thank God. But, it just happened. And I'm I always tell people we have our plans and God has his plans. So I
That's
guess
right.
wanted that to happen. And so here I am.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm glad, God does have his plan, because this
Yeah.
song, the single is really refreshing to hear. Especially with your voice on it. It's just like a backyard home feel, it feels good.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm definitely glad that he brought you back to what is necessary right about now. I know you're also working on a new album as well. So tell me about the album. What can people expect as far as the songs and the sound of the album? Is it going to be all R&B? What kind of sound are you expecting?
Well, the title of my new project is Gemini,
Okay.
and I've got to get it finished. But it's mostly my love for jazz. I never did a jazz project. I say, you've done R&B, you've done pop, you've done your gospel things, but I've never did a jazz project. So it's more jazz. There's some R&B on it, of course, R&B pop, but it's mostly jazz and some songs that I've wanted to do and some songs that I've written. And it just shows a whole different, completely different side of me to people. But I think it gives an overall view of who I am as an artist, and seeing that this may be the last one. So I want to make sure I give everybody a really great taste of everything that I've been working on and what I want to do and what I want to be remembered for.
Right, right. That makes sense. Do you think you, in the past, before this album, ever had an album that really embodied who you were?
I think the majority of my projects embodied who I am and who I've been. Certainly with the first album with Free and This Is Niecy, and on all of my projects, I think they've embodied who I am. Some more than others, for sure. I
Okay.
would say some more than others have really given you a really precise view of me. When I work with Tom Bell, when I work with George Duke, when I work with Maurice White, and Verdi, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I think those are probably the projects that give you a real true sense, 100% of who I am and who I was at that time and who I've grown to be.
Yes, 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 yes. Now, of course, I watched the video for "When You Love Somebody" as well, which you got out. I love that video as well. How was it for you shooting that video? Was it even like work for you at this point?
I had fun. My son produced it. One of his friends shot it. I worked with the makeup artist as a friend of mine, and we're doing some charity work together. So it was work because it took a whole day to film, but it was also fun.
Okay.
And seeing it, when they finished it and edited and put it all together, it was lovely. The guy that was in the video with it was a sweetheart. He was really kind of funny because he was shy. I was kind of shy, so we were trying to make that chemistry happen. And I think we had a great time with each other. And so it was work because it was a full day. I think we spent 12 hours shooting, but at the same time, it was fun to be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It really is awesome to see artists like yourself come back. Well, not come back because you didn't really leave, but have out something new. I would say, especially of this caliber, because it's like it makes sense. It's not something that's out of your range, and it's not like you're trying to rap, or something like that. So I really appreciate that. You stay true to yourself and brought something fresh to what is now, so I really like that. um Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Of course. Of course, you had a long career by now. If somebody doesn't know you at this point, I'm sure they must have been hiding under a rock. But you've been around a long time. Even before you were a solo artist, you sang with Stevie Wonder and Wonder Love, which I'm sure was a great joy. Talk to me about working with Stevie and how that experience was for you, singing with him, and as well as Suze, I know you worked with, and Miss Shirley Brewer, and a lot of great women, a lot of great talent. You was just around a creative environment, it seems like.
Yeah.
So what was that time like for you?
It was really wonderful, as you said, to be around all of that talent. I didn't even know that I was a songwriter until I got around Stevie and I saw Stevie, poetry plus music equals song. I'd been
Hmm.
writing a lot of poems in high school, but I never really put them to music. And so when I met Steve and I saw how, he was creating, uh, it was just an incredible time for me, and also to be around other incredible talented people, like Ray Parker Jr., Susse Green, I mean, Greg Gaines was on keys. We
Yeah.
had just this Michael Cimbello, we had just this incredible group of talent around us. And if you didn't pick up on any of that, you must have not been with us. You were just a walking dead person, because you couldn't be around that much giftedness and not pick up something, and or um, have some of that fall on you. And that
Yeah.
was the most wonderful thing about being with Stevie. He was so creative, and just us being together. So it was a great time. It was also a scary time, in as much as, coming from Indiana, coming from the church, and all of a sudden you're on the stage with Stevie Wonder, and all of a sudden he's on the stage with the Rolling Stones. It was like, oh my God, am I really here? Lord, take care of me. Those kind of things. But it was incredible, and
Yes,
then
yes.
also being around Maurice White and Earth, Wind and Fire. There was a whole nother thing happening with Maurice White and Charles Stephanie, who was this incredible musician and writer. And, then being able to get around Tom Bell, George Duke, you know, working with David Foster. I mean, I had the honor and the opportunity to work with some of the greats in the music industry, Johnny Mathis. And
Oh,
so,
yes.
it's just was I have to say it was God, because I was walking, minding my business, and things just, doors open and things happen for me. And I'm just so grateful for that. I wasn't always prepared, but I did have enough gumption, I think. Okay, I'll do it,
That's right. That's right.
when preparation meets up with opportunity, you cannot allow fear to hold you back. Or, a lot of people, when those things happen, we're walking in fear. And I have to admit that a lot of times I was afraid, but I also knew that God was on my side, and that this was a door that opened. So I'm just gonna walk right on through it, I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think and you probably would agree that coming out of the church really helped prepare you a lot, as far as singing, and for those different arenas that you went in later on.
Mhm.
Um, Even when you were in Wonder Love, I think hearing you guys sing, is a video on YouTube of you all singing Sign, Seal, Deliver. But it was just like, hearing that, it was like gospel, so it was almost like it's not foreign to you at this point,
No,
so
no.
I really enjoy watching those videos, because it's like it's like to hear you and those other ladies and Stevie just flow. It's so
Yeah.
natural, and it's like, wow, okay. I remember you talking about working with Minnie Riperton on her project, and Miss Shirley Brewer talked about how you sang notes on top of Minnie Riperton. I thought that was amazing, because you were really one of the people who are underrated, I would say, in that department, because a lot of people don't give you the credit you deserve, with the whistle notes and register. And you are one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, that I know of, to come out with that kind of stuff, at least on record.
Mhm.
So what was that like, that environment like to work with Minnie, especially how she sings those whistle notes so easily, and you jump in and just jump in with her. What was that like for you?
It was just an incredible experience. I remember when I was about 16 years old, one of my neighbors came by my house one day and said, "You have to play this record. You have to play this record." And I said, "What is it?" He said, "You sound like this girl. You sound just like this girl. You need to play this record." And she gave me the record, and it was a group called Rotary Connection.
Yes.
And I played it, and Minnie Riperton was the lead singer on for Rotary Connection. And I'm listening to Minnie, and I'm like, we do sound similar. We do, listen to music in that register and go up there and go for it and can get it. And so I had already known about her and listened to her. So when I met her at the studio with Stevie when he was producing her, it was like, oh my God, I didn't think I could, even speak. I was in such awe of her. And then one night after Stevie had recorded Minnie, uh, he said, "I want you to go in and just, do a flow and do some riffs and things around Minnie's vocal." And I did it. And the very next day I came to the studio and they were all listening to it. And I thought, oh my God, and I looked at Minnie and she looked at me and she's just shook her head like that, like, good job, So
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, it gotta be amazing to have somebody like that, because I know we talk about, I know a lot of people bring up Mariah Carey when they mention the whistle notes.
Yeah,
But Minnie was one of the very first that I heard
yeah,
of, along
yeah,
with you and hometown Queen Betty Wright.
yeah.
It was a few, matter of fact, but I don't know why you guys got, didn't get the recognition, I would say, for those kind of things. But she just really sang those notes with ease. It was almost like breathing. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh.
And I think that that's how it is with me. It's just, I'm singing and my head tells me to do something and I just go with the flow of it. And so there are a few of us that, that do that, and it doesn't come out screechy tone or off.
Right.
It's very beautiful, it's very melodic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I always tried to make my presentation of it. I really haven't most of the people do recognize that in me, recognize that in many, and certainly, and recognize it in Mariah. Um, but I think that that's where we're known. That's where people do know and say, we can do this thing that very few people can do.
Right.
So it has been something that has separated me from a lot of other artists. Um, and it's, even though Minnie and I sound, had similar a similar range, the way we approached it was very different. The way
Mm-hmm.
Minnie
Mm-hmm.
sang hers and the way I sang mine, and even the way Mariah sings has come very has been very, very a different approach, but having the ability to have the same register. So I like that too, because when you listen to Minnie, it's Minnie, but when you listen to Deniece Williams, it's Deniece Williams, and vice
That's right.
versa with Mariah. We all have our own interpretation of that. So it's been fun, to be in that group.
Do you remember? I know you talked about singing at an early age, but do you remember the first time you hit a whistle note?
I think maybe I was I don't know, maybe around 11 or 12. And I was in
Mm.
the church choir. And my cousin, who was the musical director, would say, Deniece, just fill in where, if you don't hear enough alto, sing alto. If you don't hear enough second soprano or first soprano, sing that. And our altos were strong. So I would bounce around between second soprano and first soprano. And I think that when I was filling in one day, I skipped up there to the first soprano and hit a note. And it was fun. It was like, okay, I can do that, so it was good.
Oh man, that's awesome though that you were able to see where you were vocally that early. Because a lot of people
Yes.
don't find out that kind of thing until later in life, and it's like, oh, it's almost over.
No, it was very early on for me. And I think because I did sing in the church choir, when I got around 11 or 12, my the musical director of the choir had me doing a lot of the solo stuff. And um, I just love doing that. Also in our church, there was a singer, Sarah Jordan Powell, that came to
Mm,
the church that sang in those high register. And I remember also, singing along with her and trying to mimic her, and the voice was beautiful.
mm. I remember your first album, This Is Niecy,
Mhm.
which is one of my favorites, and because it has a song "Free" on there as well. Um, what do you remember about the recording session for "Free"?
Uh, uh, I remember being scared witless. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire playing the track. Charles, Stephanie, and Maurice were producing the track. I had written the song while I was with Stevie Wonder, Susie Green and Nathan Watts and myself and Hank Red. And we're just like fooling around, and I walked up uh, and I said, "Gotta be free, free, free." And Susie walked up, I said, "Here, sing this." And I looked at the lyrics. And so I said, "Wait a minute, they all don't fit." So we worked on the lyrics. And so we had our interpretation of Free. And Stevie used to let us go on like 10 minutes before he would come out, Wonder Love with us, do a number.
Okay.
So this night they said, "Let's sing Denice's song Free." So I went out and I sang Free that night. But so happened that Maurice White, Philip Bailey, and Verdine White were sitting on the front row of that concert. And their lawyer came back and said, "Who wrote that song that you sang?" I said, "I wrote it with, some of the folks in the band." And so when I was used to doing it the way Wonder Love did it,
Right.
but Maurice and Charles Stephanie put a whole new spin on the song. And so when I went in and I first heard it, I was like, "Oh God, how do I get the old version out of my head to get to the new version?" And eventually I did, so it was frightening, it was challenging, but it turned out great.
Yes, yes. Especially just listening to that track before the vocals even come in is just like, wow. And
Yes.
then when you come in with whispering in his ear, it's just like, okay, I'm done. That's it. That is it. I don't need nothing else. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you had a lot of great music, a lot of albums that you did between R&B and gospel and pop. A lot of the singles, some of the singles that I remember, and I like, of course, "Let's Hear It for the Boy" was very big for you
Yeah.
on the Footloose soundtrack.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about George Duke not wanting to do that song, and you and him went at it about it.
He did not want to do that song, but I got the help of his wife, Corrine. And next thing I knew, after I told Corrine to help me, a week later, we were in that studio doing the song. And then, we saw about 15 million, uh, you know, and I told George one day, so we were talking and we were doing my, this TV thing that they did on me, the unsung. And I
Hmm.
said, so George says, "I still don't like that song." I said, "Well, give me your money then. I take all that money you made on this. You can give it to me because I got four sons and baby need."
That's right. That's right. If you don't like it, I sure do.
That's right. I'm loving it right now. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, yes. I mean, I think that was an awesome song though to show your versatility on and show what you really could do because like you said, you had been singing ballads before. That's what people started
Yeah,
to know you for.
yeah,
And that song really just tipped you over the edge and then took you over into the pop world to people say,
yeah,
"Who is this?"
yeah. Oh, that's
um,
that's the little girl that's sang with Johnny Mathis. She's back.
that's right. That's right. But you and Johnny also had a great connection, and especially one of my favorites is "Too Much, Too Little, Too Late." Um, you and his vocals on that track is just like a marriage of music, I like to call it. It's
Mhm.
almost like, how do you get something so great, and then you play that song?
Yeah, yeah. He
How did?
work with. He was really wonderful to work with. I think the thing that I learned from Johnny the most is how to be a legend in the industry and still be a person of humility. He's
Yes.
one of the most humble people you'll ever want to meet. He never, came off, I'm Johnny Mathis and I'm a legend and you're a new person singing in the studio with me. He was never like that. He's never like that to this day. So I was just very grateful that we had the success that we had, but also very grateful that he taught me um, the rewards of humility.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I never heard about somebody like Johnny Mathis, doing that, crazy stuff that we hear some of these people or celebrities do, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't want to be bothered with them.
That's right.
I always respected that though. A very gentleman, I would say,
He was a
and
gentleman.
kind person.
Yeah.
So you and him together, it was almost like destined to be, I would say, because
Yeah.
you have a certain kind of spirit about you as well. That's almost in the same kind of realm, and it's like, wow, okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, that song is definitely one of my favorites, especially Johnny starting that off with "Guess it's over, call it a day."
Yeah.
That is one of my favorites. And "Cause You Love Me, Baby,"
Yeah.
definitely. I cannot, or we cannot play that song here at a cookout and not have a response. So thank you.
Very welcome. Glad you enjoy it.
Because my family will act up and they will start a mess if we play that song. As soon as that beat comes in and the vocals start, everybody has to sing along. So
Okay.
it's
All right.
all because of you.
Loving it. Glad to be a part of your family.
It's all because of you. Another one that I love too is "That's What Friends Are For." Uh,
Hmm.
it was a very wonderful song, and
Yeah.
I Found Love. I thought that was awesome. A lot of people don't talk about that song, but I love that song,
Mm-hmm.
especially the way you perform it. I'm just like, oh, okay. Did you really find
Yep, I found it.
it? I could tell. I was watching a performance you did on Soul Train. I think of it. I think it was Soul Train, Solid Gold. I think it was.
I'll go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you performed that song, and I said, "Oh, just look at her go. She really has found it. If she didn't, she definitely know how to pretend she did."
That's funny.
You definitely know how to pretend if you didn't find it. So I liked that. And what else? Of course, Silly, and
Yeah.
that was another big one. Um, what do you remember about writing that song and then recording it? I know it must have took you somewhere emotional, obviously.
I was in a relationship, and um, the guy, broke my heart. And so I was at 3 o'clock in the morning, snotting and crying and saying I feel so silly. And so I called my writing partner and I said, put this down. It'll probably never end up on a project because I it's a waltz. I'm writing, singing it in 6/8 time, 3/4 time, and it probably won't even end up on a record. But put this down. So she recorded it, and then we went in and we started working on the lyrics and working on the song, and I put it on one of my projects, and it just jumped off the record. There was a disc jockey, Frankie Crocker, who was at
Yes.
WCLS in New York, and he always said that I was too pop, that I wasn't a real solid R&B. I was too pop. So he calls me one day and he said, "Listen, I got a request, 30 requests, 40 requests for this song, Silly." I said, "Well, I guess you just have to play it now, right?"
That's
And that
right.
was funny. So, Silly just kind of jumped off the project, and there you have it.
Mm, that's amazing. I like when you perform that song as well. I watched just some of your videos, and you still get into character. I would say when you
Yeah,
perform that, I appreciate that because it shows artistry, and you're not just like singing to a dead, audience.
yeah.
So I really like that. Black Butterfly was another song that was a great one.
Mhm.
A coming out song. You didn't write that one, but it was still a great song.
Yeah.
Um, where did you go mentally to sing that, or what would you were you thinking about to sing it um, at the time?
Well, when I heard the lyrics, I knew that it was something that I wanted to sing. George Duke brought that to me. And it just spoke of the power and the strength of us all to overcome. and
Yes.
that, we go through the struggles just like the caterpillar. We go through the struggles of life, but if we keep going through the struggles and learning, we evolve and we turn into these butterflies, and we our wings soar and we can fly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it comes through the struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you eventually started to sing your gospel music. Even in 1987, I think it was, you sang "God Is Amazing"
Yes.
at the Grammys. I think it was.
Hmm.
Um, at the time, you were really pretty much at the height of your career still, and so many people knew you for pop and R&B, but you said, "No, I'm going to sing this."
Yes.
Um, do you think that that was a mistake musically to do that? Personally, it was the right thing to do because you felt that way. But do you
Hmm.
think that was a mistake musically?
No,
No.
not at all. I think I've always done gospel music on my projects, and so it wasn't anything for me to step outside the box and want to do that. I've always felt that if people were going to know me as an artist, they had to know all sides of me, and that
Yes.
certainly was a big part of my upbringing, a big part of my musical education, a big part of my heart. So I don't think so at all. At that particular night, I think actually that song probably got the greatest amount of response from the audience, who just went in with me whether they wanted to go or not. They were touched by that. They were touched by that song, and I think it also solidified to the Christian gospel artist that my heart was good. My heart was really true about how I felt about the Lord, and so that's the reason why they accepted me when I started doing my gospel projects.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You did So Glad I Know, I think it was in '86 on the
Uh-huh.
Sparrow label.
Uh-huh.
I just realized now a good while ago that that has been released on Apple Music, matter of fact.
Hmm.
How did that ended up happening? Do you know anything about that?
I do. My son and his dad decided that they wanted to put that back out, and they said we're going to do it. And I said, "You have my blessing." So there you are.
Okay, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
because I know some of these albums are on there, but it's like some missing in between. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that is definitely one that's back out. Uh,
Yes.
and of course, you had major success with gospel after that, though,
Yeah.
even winning Grammys for it. I know that is probably one of the highlights of your life, singing gospel and actually getting to give God His praises, I'll say, and then to be able to be rewarded musically for it.
Mhm.
What is one of your favorite albums, if you have one?
I think. Well, I don't really have one favorite. I have several that are my favorite. Certainly the first one. This is Niecy, and then one
Hmm.
with Tom Bell. Niecy, My Melody with Tom Bell, Black Butterfly with George Duke. John, my recordings with Johnny Mathis. I do have some that I love more than others, but those would be probably some of my favorites.
Okay. Was there any songs that you can think of that wasn't so much a hit that you thought should have been a hit?
No.
Okay. I know you don't have. I know you probably can't choose a favorite song, so I won't even ask that one. Um, do you have a favorite artist that you look up to from back then and now? Matter of fact.
Well, I have a lot of artists that I looked up to. As a really love Aretha Franklin and what Aretha
Of course, of course.
Franklin did. Um, I am writing a theater piece on Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, and Pearl Bailey. So that those are
Mm.
probably some of my favorite women in the music industry. Um, I love Billy Ocean, Caribbean. I love Seal.
Yeah.
Uh, to listen to quite a bit. Um, I love what can I say? Who? Yeah, just a few.
Okay. I'm glad you talked about that, though, writing that piece about Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald and those ladies. I just was talking to Frida Payne earlier, I think it was
Uh-huh.
last week, and we talked about some of those exact same artists. So I think it's important that we really, keep their names alive
Mhm.
through what we do, because if not, people will forget, you know. And
Yes.
these are the artists that really paved the way, that set the foundation for a lot of us right now today. A lot of artists. I'm not
Yes.
an artist, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely glad to hear that. So, what else are you working on as well? I know we have the new album, Gemini,
Mhm.
and we have the single out already. So, what else are you working on right now?
Working on co-producing the theater piece called Live at the Crescendo Club, starring Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, and Pearl Bailey. So I'm working on that, and we just hired our writer, we just hired our director, we have our music supervisor, and I'm just excited because those are the shoulders of ladies that we stand on that I don't believe the world has given their proper due.
Yes.
I've been approached about potentially doing a film on this project, so we're discussing maybe doing a movie on this project.
Okay.
I'm writing my books, hopefully to get a book out by June this year called "Bringing Out the Queen in You,"
Okay.
and writing another book called "How Ruth Got a Man," and
Mm.
um, producing a couple of television shows. So it's a lot. It's music and television and film and theater these days that I'm concentrating on.
All right now. Of
Mhm.
course, you're one of the artists who thankfully has transcended time, with their work. A lot of the artists that have sampled you are mostly rappers, but even R&B as well have sampled you. When I think of that, I think of a lot of different artists, but Monica is one that comes to mind as well. When she redid "Silly," but her own version, of course, and she brought you out on the BET Awards with her.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. What was that moment like for you to come out and sing your song that people loved and get that response from the crowd roaring at you?
It was just incredible. I'm always humbled and excited when I, start a song and people just go crazy and they go in. It's very humbling and it's very exciting at the same time. So that was exciting that night to see their reaction to the original song and my version and my singing it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you realize sometimes how much people really love, these songs, especially "Silly," because I don't think there's one person you can say that doesn't sing that song, the men included.
That's funny.
The men included. I don't think there's nobody left out when it comes to that song. At this point, children are probably singing it. So
Yeah.
it really is a trendsetter in his way. When people sample your music, though, even the songs that you don't write, do they still have to come through you as the artist?
They come to me as the artist and the publisher and get permission to use it.
Okay, okay. I do remember hearing or seeing RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan say that he sampled your song "Free," but
Mhm.
then at the time it didn't get clear, so they had to like pull the record, and I was like, oh, okay.
That's too bad. I wish he'd talk to me.
Yeah, yeah. They have like a docu series
Mhm.
on Hulu where they basically made it a series instead of one, movie or something like that. And he went under a different name at the time and used "Free" to rap over, but
Oh,
they didn't get it cleared. And so then once they had put it out in the stores, they were like, okay, we got to pull this and you got to re-record it now.
oh, that's too bad. That's stupid old Columbia record. Okay.
Oh man! At the time you were on Columbia, though, you were with Maurice White for a while on the
Yeah.
Arc label, which was through Columbia.
Uh-huh.
I think the Emotions were on at the same time as you, right?
Emotions, DJ Rogers, and there was another group on there. I can't think about it. Yeah, but there were four of us that were on that label.
Mm. Yeah, so they made a lot of money then. Okay, they had to, especially with those artists on it. I could tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. Do you really think about how much of a career you have over this time, or do you think about how rich it is? I would say.
Um, I I I always look back in awe at what God allowed me to do and allowed me to be a part of. And so I do see how it's been a rich career, and I'm very grateful that I was allowed to have it and that I'm allowed to still have it. even today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, you're one of the artists we may not hear of every day, but we know when we hear your name, it's like, okay, Deniece Williams. All right, that's the legend. You know, we know all the songs. You know, you start calling them out, and you're like, oh, I remember that. So
Yeah,
you have definitely transcended better than some, you know, and it really is amazing to see that you fought so hard to do what you loved in gospel and still make it and still be loved for R&B. And I really respect you for doing that and doing
mm,
what you thought was right. I'm sure there's a big reward for you in God's house
yeah.
with that, I'm sure. Today though, what are you most grateful for?
I'm most grateful for family.
Yes.
Going to be coming through these doors in about 10 minutes. My grandchildren come over twice a week around this time. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for health.
Yes.
I'm grateful for I'm in my right mind. You know, I haven't
That's right. That's
haven't
right.
went off somewhere. And just I'm just grateful for each day that God allows me to wake up and be healthy and have peace of mind, have family and friends and loved ones, and to have lived such an incredible life that I never thought I would, live, but He's allowed that to happen. So I'm just thankful and grateful, and try to live in an attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you could just describe yourself in just 3 words, what would they be?
Money, healthy, wealthy.
Okay, that makes sense. Especially with all these plaques, I would assume so. Uh, but before you go, Miss Williams, just let everybody know where they can find you on your website, your social media, those kind of things.
Well, you can find me at nieceofficial@gmail.com. You can look up my website, denicewilliams.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So just
Okay.
go and check me out.
Okay. Would you do me the honor of just carrying us out with just a little piece of something?
Um,
Whatever you want, it doesn't matter.
okay. God is truly amazing. My God is truly amazing.
That's it. Ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen, this is none other than the songbird herself, Miss Deniece Williams. Thank you so much, Miss Williams.
thank you. Have a great day. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
You do the same. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.